Welcome to today's episode on the journey to spiritual awakening.
Today we have with us Elias Stassinos, who will share with us his personal self-realization story and his thoughts on spiritual awakening. Elia, you often make videos and mention various practices we can follow to awaken, but today we would like to learn more about your own personal self-realization path. How did your journey to spiritual awakening begin?
The truth is, my search started very early, without me even realizing it. From the age of 16, I had a deep curiosity about life. I remember asking many of the elders often about what is life. This question followed me everywhere.
Very interesting. How did that search evolve as you grew up?
Around 20, I moved on to the deeper questions. I started reading a lot of personal development and philosophy books.
And when did you start turning to more spiritual pursuits?
This happened gradually. I started reading the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, and Buddha's Dhammapada. At the same time, I was also reading Christian texts such as Saint Isaac the Syrian, but also studied various gurus and spiritualists. I was on a constant quest for understanding life and find a way to be released from the mind's matrix.
Was there a particular experience that changed your course?
Yes, there was a defining moment. I had a profound spiritual experience which I could describe as a Kundalini experience. This happened when I started meditating. Then I thought I was enlightened, but I was only enlightened in relation to my previous spiritual state because I still felt that something was missing.
How has your life changed after this experience?
The experience was truly profound and enlightening, but I realized that it was only the beginning of an even more extensive journey. There was an inner knowing, an intuition that there was something even deeper to discover, a state that would confirm complete release from the existential pain we all experience in life. This realization prompted me to continue with even greater devotion my spiritual quest. I intensified my study of spiritual texts, deepened my meditation, and continued to explore new practices and teachings, always with the belief that there is an even deeper level of understanding and freedom to be discovered.
Elia, we are talking about personal awakening, but how does this relate to the pain you mentioned and the suffering of the world mentioned by Buddha and Christ? What pain do we go through in life?
Excellent observation. Indeed, both Buddha and Christ recognize pain as central to human existence. The Buddha spoke of dukkha, often translated as pain or discomfort, as the first noble truth. Christ, on the other hand, sent his disciples to heal and relieve pain. The pain we experience in life can take many forms with illness, injury, aging loss, rejection, loneliness, anxiety, depression, insecurity, and fear. Sense of meaninglessness, alienation, injustice, inequality, and discrimination. However, it is not so painful if we follow the spiritual path. As the great teacher, Christ, said, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." Also, Socrates, the great Greek philosopher, urged us to treat others with kindness and understanding, reminding us that every person we meet is fighting an invisible battle. Socrates urged us to cultivate compassion, recognizing that we cannot know the depth of pain or sorrow hidden behind the facade of every person who crosses our life's path.
Elia, you mentioned the words of Christ, "My yoke is easy, and my burden is light." How does this relate to spiritual awakening and how we deal with pain?
This phrase of Christ is really profound and directly related to the concept of spiritual awakening. When Christ says, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light," he does not mean that life suddenly becomes easy or that there are no more challenges. Rather, it refers to an inner state and a way of perceiving the world.
You mentioned Socrates and his teaching on compassion. How does this relate to spiritual awakening and dealing with pain?
Socrates' observation is truly profound and timeless. When Socrates exhorts us to have compassion because we do not know the sorrows of everyone we meet, he reminds us of a fundamental truth about human condition.
Indeed, patience and compassion play a lot in this game. Let's go back to how you were spiritually awakened and what happened at the end of your journey.
I spent years studying the Christian fathers and texts, but at the same time I maintained the practice of meditation. Anyway, in the Holy Mount Athos, they practiced the prayer of the heart, which is a kind of mantra meditation. I mean, meditation is a Christian practice too.
What was the biggest challenge along the way?
The biggest challenge was that despite my deep and powerful Kundalini experience, I didn't understand what had happened inside me. I had difficulty understanding the nature of the ego and disidentifying with it. So later, through studying teachings such as those of Shunyamurti, Rupert Spira, and other gurus, I became self-realized.
How would you describe awakening based on your experience?
Awakening is a continuous process and perhaps with many stages. It often begins with a simple enlightenment from a text or intense spiritual experience, but this is only the beginning of the journey. The real challenge comes with awakening from the ego and realizing that we are not our thoughts. The most difficult obstacle on this path is letting go of the belief that our thoughts are our own. This is where ego pride plays an insidious role, making us believe that our thoughts are solely our own and that we are particularly intelligent. This illusion is so deeply ingrained that it often takes years and the guidance of an experienced teacher to overcome it. As we proceed along this path, we gradually come to the understanding that we are consciousness itself. This process requires constant deepening and integration of this knowledge into our daily lives, leading us beyond the illusions of the mind and ego.
It would be extremely interesting and enlightening if you could share your experience of how one experiences life after self-realization. Your personal testimony could provide a unique insight into this state of consciousness that many seek but few have experienced.
My Kundalini experience was my first taste of spiritual awakening, giving me a deep sense of oneness with the universe and freeing me from the fear of death. I experienced an unprecedented inner peace and joy, independent of external circumstances. However, the full self-realization that followed after many years brought even deeper changes. I noticed an exponential increase in compassion and love, not just for humans, but for all beings, animals, plants, even life itself in all its expressions. Self-realization served as the final blow for the ego. I found that there was a complete absence of attachment to material goods or results of actions, even for good deeds. But the most surprising thing was the experience of a constant presence in the here and now. This situation is as Kazantzaki's put it, I hope for nothing, I fear nothing, I am free. Or in the words of Meister Eckhart, I have nothing, I want nothing, I fear nothing, I am free. Thus, life now flows effortlessly, without a sense of personal effort or struggle. It is a state of absolute freedom and harmony with the universe. I realize that even after awakening, we have responsibilities and roles in the world. This is not an escape from life, but a deeper participation in it. I still fulfill whatever roles I have in society, but with a new perspective and presence.
How do you see your role in sharing this knowledge with others?
I believe that teaching is primarily through example and presence. It's not so much about giving answers, but about creating a space where others can explore their own truth. It is important to remember that each person has their own unique path.
What would you say is the most important piece of advice you would give to someone starting this journey?
The most important tip is to cultivate a deep love for the quest itself. This love will give them the patience, persistence, and openness they need. The ego is a cunning adversary. It will constantly advise you and assure you that you are fully aware of your situation, while in reality you are in a state of complete ignorance of your true spiritual state. This illusion of knowledge is perhaps the greatest obstacle to spiritual progress.
And with these words, we close our episode today. Thank you for listening, and we wish you a beautiful journey of self-awareness and spiritual growth. Comment, like, and subscribe. Share these videos so others can be set free too.